Hey everybody, how's it going? Hope you're having a lovely day. So, I've had better days, I'll be honest with you. So, I got a piece of mail yesterday from the Civil Court of the City of New York, Small Claims Court, County of New York. Now, you can imagine at this point in time, after the relationship that I've had with New York City, that I am at a point where when I receive mail from a court in New York City, I am at a point where I have steam coming out of my ears, my blood pressure goes up, my pulse goes up, and I just start to get mad. I've been sending much of this mail back when it's a stupid fine here or there, because at this point, I just don't care to fight and argue with them anymore. I don't live there. I don't have a business there. I will never step foot in that state again for the rest of my natural life. So it's not much of a concern to me. But when it's coming from an actual court, I'll open it. And when I opened this, I thought it was going to be something much worse than it actually was, just based on my experiences there. I've had New York State put a lien on my business for unpaid taxes that I actually paid 11 years ago, that they have record of me paying 11 years ago, that I have record of them taking the money of 11 years ago that I never knew about because they sent all of the correspondence to a P.O. box in Berwick, Maine, a state that I had never been to. And I detail that in this 7-video series over here where you can hear all of the miserable phone calls I have with the people that run that state. I also have videos going over every other experience I've had there, whether it is them not renewing my license in spite of me giving them money and filling out the application, then saying I did not renew or pay when I actually had a receipt that I did, and trying to shut down my business, them fining me for laws that they cannot say, them auditing me and claiming I owed over $500,000 when I actually owed less than 0.1% of that, and so on and so forth. There are many reasons at this point that when I receive mail like this, I just feel the urge to explode. But this was actually not as bad as I thought, so I thought I would share it with you because it is still kind of funny. So when you take a look at this, this is dated September 28th. That's the first thing you notice. The first thing you notice is that I received this yesterday, and it's dated September 28th. God forbid they put the notice in the mail within 1 to 2 weeks of printing it. That would just be too much work altogether. That would actually require somebody carrying it to an outgoing mail section or something like that so that we can get the mail in time. This is something that I've talked about in another video that I did over here. This is a 4-hour phone call with the Office of Administrative Trials and Hearings, where we are talking about a fine that I had received, and then I had also received an offer to cure the violation. Curing means that you prove that it's no longer an issue, you demonstrate that it's no longer an issue, you pay a lower amount, and that's that. The reason I wasn't able to cure this violation is because they took so long to mail it to me that by the time I received the letter, there was only about 1 or 2 days left to fix it. I could not mail it to them because they would not have received it in time. I could not pay online because their website didn't work, which I have gone over in a detailed video, and I could not show up in person because New York was not accepting anybody in person because of the whole COVID never ends nonsense that was going on at that period of time. And they did not care. They said that we could look up the postmarks or we could do an investigation into that if you really want to, but that could be a very... Just let me pay my fine and let me get the fuck off the phone with you is where I was at that point after 3.5 hours on the phone with somebody that was clearly clueless. But I digress. So it takes them about 2 weeks to actually put this shit in the mail after they print it. But that's actually the least of the delays here when we dig into it. It says over here, Ross Repair Group against Park Bench Architects. They don't spell my name right, but again, that's expecting too much from a state that thinks that I live in Berwick, Maine. Anyway, please take notice that your commercial claim for a case has been scheduled to October 25th at 9:30 a.m. in Part 47B, Room 49 for a bench trial. And I'm wondering, why am I going against an architect? This doesn't make sense. And the reason that my memory is kind of fuzzy here is because my dispute started in December of 2019. So when I was moving to a new store, I had hired a designer. If you're not sure why I would hire a designer, just take a look at this video over here where I go over what my old store looked like. Needless to say, I should not be the person setting up a new flagship location if we are moving and want to gain customer trust from how nice this place looks. So I decided if we're moving, I should pay a little bit of money for a designer to put everything together. And most of the people that watch my videos agree that the design that I paid over $7,000 for is complete trash. The architect that I had hired had also provided me with inaccurate information regarding the certificate of occupancy, which would have cost me an additional $20,000 if I had taken their advice to do properly, which I did not have to do. As a result of providing me with inaccurate information that would have wasted 5 figures of my money and giving me admittedly worse designs than what I was getting from random people submitting them on YouTube for free, I just asked them, listen, if you're a business owner, look at the design that you gave me, look at the information that you gave me that was false, and then look at what I was provided for free. What would you think in this situation? And, after going back and forth, the business owner of this design place decided that they were going to give me a refund. And I honestly wish they had said no, because if they had just said, no, we're not going to give you a refund, that would have kind of been like the manly thing to do. The bitch thing to do is what actually happened, where they agreed to give me a refund and then they ghosted me and didn't do it. Again, if you want to say no, that's fine. I've said no to customers before, but just don't say, yeah, I'll do it, and then avoid them afterwards. Anyway, after another 3 months of being avoided. We had agreed to a refund in December of 2019. I didn't get anything back, and by March, I realized that they were avoiding my calls and my emails, and I was never going to hear from them. So I decided to take them to court. When I went to commercial claims court or small claims court, they would not accept credit card, and they also wanted me to pay an exact change. I could not give them more money. I need to give them exact change, which actually made a topic of a funny video at the time. So that's exactly what I did. I counted my quarters, my nickels, my dimes, and my pennies, and I brought it there and jumped through every single one of this city's hoops that they don't want you to jump through because God forbid you actually use any of the services that you're paying over $100 billion a year for. Anyway. I go there and I pay. And I don't hear anything. March goes by. Don't hear anything. April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. Don't hear anything. Next year, January, February, March, 2021, April, May, June, July, August, September, October. Don't hear anything. November 2021, we're almost 2 years into this now, don't hear anything. December, I finally get something in the mail, as does my adversary. What he got in the mail was a notice that they were going to move forward with the case. Great. Again, it almost took 2 years to get them to acknowledge that I was going to small claims court, but they acknowledged it. And at the time that they acknowledged it, I finally got a phone call from this person who had been ghosting me for 2 years because he just didn't want to give me a refund after saying that he would. And he refunded our entire payment, which is why I updated the title of this video. It says, as of December 10, 2021, they had refunded us our full payment. And after that point, I honestly didn't really just, think to myself, oh my God, I need to end this court case now because it literally takes me 2 years to get any correspondence from. So I figured, that's it. And now at this point, it's been almost 4 years. We've gone from March of 2020 to October of 2023, and I get a letter in the mail saying you can show up for your court case now. Do you know how useless this is? People that go to small claims court or commercial claims court, most of the time we're not talking about big ticket items, we're talking about smaller ticket items. And the type of people that are going to court over $200, $500, $1,000, sometimes they are very wealthy people that just want to make a point. But a lot of the times they're people who are poor, people to whom $300 to $700 is the difference between whether or not they will have heat that month, the difference between whether or not they'll have food that month, the difference between whether or not they will pay rent and be able to live indoors that month. I understand that I'm in a privileged position. When I say privileged, I mean that losing $700, or dare I say it, losing $7,000 is not going to result in my kitty starving, myself starving, me missing a payment on my electric or my water and on my gas bill. There was a time in my life where being out $400 to $500 would have completely destroyed me and resulted in me probably losing a lot of weight and having a majorly aggravating year. I'm past that, and I'm very, very thankful and appreciative of it. But the people that rely on these services are people that are relying on these services because they need justice a little faster than 4 years. If they get ripped off for $200 or $500 or $1,000 or $2,000, they don't have the ability. They can't afford to wait 4 fucking years for you to get your shit together and decide to actually go through it. And I imagine the reason that it takes 3.5 to 4 years to get anything done here is the exact same reason that everything else here is true. The same reason that they don't understand their own laws. The same reason that they're incapable of processing my license renewal after I have a receipt that I paid for it, and they don't believe me when I show them a receipt. The same reason that I can have a 4-hour phone call with somebody that literally says on the phone call, I've never done this before, in spite of the fact that they are a judge in the Office of Administrative Trials and Hearings. That's why it took 3 hours to figure out what I owe. For the same reason that they placed a lien on me for taxes that I had paid 5 years prior and sent every single record of that to a P.O. box in a state that I had never been to. From top to bottom, in every way possible, this state and this city is run by incompetent morons. And the part that pisses me off the most is that if I do this, if I do something like this, if I tell a customer it will be 6 weeks to 8 months for your data recovery, and I ghost them for 2.5 years, they're probably going to be a little mad at me. Again, there are times where things take longer. There are times where you get overwhelmed with work. There are times when you have a difficult case. And I've probably let people down. Hell, I know I've let people down when I've had a difficult case. I own that. And when that happens, I am truly sorry. You know what I don't do? I don't ghost people for 2 to 4 years after taking their money. And if I were to do that, I would have bad reviews. I would have chargebacks. But above all, the very consumer protection agencies that would consistently fine me for laws that they literally could not tell you how to be in compliance with in New York City would probably throw the book at me. They would remove my license if I demonstrated the same behavior that their own court system demonstrates on a daily basis. And there is no accountability. There's no one to hold them accountable. There is somebody to hold me accountable for the laws that I don't break. But who holds them accountable for the laws that they break, for the standards that they break, for the trust that they break with their citizens that pay them $100 billion in tax every year, still have to show up with exact fucking change in order to use the system that they're already paying for and get ignored for 4 years? Who holds them accountable? You know who does that? Us. By leaving, by divesting, by removing our businesses and our persons, and never returning ever again. I hope this makes sense now. I really do. The reason, why am I doing this video again? Why am I talking about it? Because they're continuing to give me a reason to. I forgot about this. I completely forgot about the idea that they were so useless that for a year and a half, I was out $3,000 to $7,000 because the government that I was paying for services didn't represent me at all. But this is a great reminder. This is an insult. This is a joke. Like, normal people, they need justice immediately. They need justice in a month, 2 months, less than that. They need justice on a 30-day time frame because that is when their rent is due. That's when their electric bill is due. That's when their mortgage is due. They don't have 3.5 to 4 years for you to twiddle your thumbs and play with your dick until you can actually send out a letter. And even when you do send out the letter, even when you do send it, when you finally print it, after 3 fucking years of ignoring us, you can't even put it in the mail within 2 weeks of printing it. The level of just disrespect that this city and this state shows everybody that gives them money makes me sick, but it simultaneously makes me happy to be able to say free at last, free at last. Finally, we are free at last. Finally, after 31 years of that garbage, I am free at last. I don't have to pay taxes to you anymore. I don't contribute to your tax base by selling sales taxable parts or services within your jurisdiction. I don't employ anybody in your jurisdiction, so there are no payroll taxes going to you anymore. And I am never going to step foot in that state or that city ever again. With good reason. That's it for today. And as always, I hope you learned something. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. I'll see you in the next video. Bye now. Do you not have a cat that looks as adorable as Mr. Clinton? You can have the next best thing, which is a Schematics or Die t-shirt featuring Mr. Clinton the cat. Or you can get a mouse pad that says Schematics or Die featuring Clinton the cat. Or you can get a battery pack that says Schematics or Die, support the right to repair with Clinton the cat. Or you can get a Clinton the cat microfiber cloth along with Honeywell UVEX cleaning spray that can be used to clean the screen of your phone or your eyeglasses or your laptop computer. Don't delay. Buy today. That's it for today. And as always, I hope you learned something.